and then get started. Okay, so thank you guys, especially with transitioning to a different night than usual. I know that you will not regret it. I know that Josh will bring plenty of fire and will be totally all about us moving to a different night so that you guys can hear from him. So anyways, Josh reached out to me maybe a month ago or so and asked to talk to you guys, our team specifically. And I think that just speaks volumes for you all and the impact that you guys are making, and just what you guys are all about. So I'm super excited. Josh is a business coach from what I know. I think very much a like hits on the needs that we have in having accountability, pushing people out of their comfort zone, working on leadership, things like that. So I'm super excited for him to chat with us tonight. If you haven't read, I'm going to do a little plug for your book here. So here is his book. If I am being 100% honest with you guys, I started this book and I think there was so much that, I don't know how to say this, truth, and that I wasn't ready to hear yet, that I had to put it down for a little bit. And I think after tonight, hopefully I'm ready to pick it back up. Not that it was a hard read, super easy read, super like engaging, but he doesn't really mess around. So if you're not ready to like hear some of the things, it's hard to read because you're like, oh dang, that's kind of a gut check. And so I wanted to fully emerge in the book when I was ready for that, like, let's do this, like, let's go for it. So Josh, maybe the weirdest introduction you've ever had, but we are super excited to hear from you. And that's kind of my take. So you can clean up whatever I just messed up on who you
I
are.
mean, it's cool. I dig it. That was your experience. That was your intro, and I love it. Usually people ask me for one, and I have to like send them over like this real douchey sounding thing that talks about all my accolades and stuff. And I always joke. I'm like, this is my least favorite part of the call where we have to like say everything that Josh has ever done so that people will want to listen. So anyways, thanks for having me, Megan. Thanks for everyone rearranging your schedules to be with me on a special night. I appreciate it so much. Just I'll just like add I'll add my little like douchey part, and then we'll like get to like actual like good stuff. Okay. Basically, I joined the John Maxwell team almost 7 years ago. Do you want to hit the mute all button and then unmute me, Megan? Um, been noticing some unmutings happening, which is totally fine, but we all have like 75 kids in the background. So sometimes it's just a lot happening. But basically I joined the John Maxwell team 7 years ago. Anyone ever heard of John Maxwell? Show me some jazzies. This is what we do on my calls in my groups because we have to mute everybody. We do jazzies. I'm Enneagram 3. So I like feedback. I like people to go somewhere with me. And about a year in, I kind of connected with some Beachbody coaches via social media. So kind of like just happened naturally, I guess. My very first client, I helped her go from 2-star to 7-star in about 6 weeks. She ended up going top 10 the entire company that year. I helped another person go top 10 the next year. And like when that happens, kind of you turn into the Beachbody guy like real quick. So anyways, I do work with multiple network marketing companies. It just so happens that I work with a lot of Beachbody coaches. So if you grab this book, which you can get at joshcoates.com for free, you just have to pay the shipping. It's 100% written for network marketers. And that is something I'm really passionate about. I don't feel like there is much out there that's for network marketers. It's like, here's 34 leadership principles. And when you're done reading, good luck figuring out how that actually applies to your network marketing business, because you kind of have to always constantly translate everything. So one of the things that I'm constantly doing is reading, studying, working with people in your business, and then working out some of the translation for you so that you can just like listen and apply. Okay. Anybody love to have things that like apply that you can just like go put in action? So that's what we're going to do tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that I've been very passionate about this year. It's kind of like I love equations. I really, really, really love equations because I like to have something to plug into. Okay. I like hype. I like energy. I'm a hype and I'm an energy person, but at the end of the day, I want to go do something. Do not get me excited and then like leave me hanging with nothing to actually do. In my opinion, that's like one of the like great faults to having so much that you have access to is sometimes we have access to so many things with such little actionable steps. So one of my goals is to always give you actionable steps. So I'm going to give you kind of a formula. I have kind of revamped all of my training groups this year to operate under this formula. I want you to write this down. How many of you are taking notes tonight? Everybody show me some jazzies. All right. You'll get the jazzy thing down by the end of the night. At first it's kind of weird. Then you just kind of like start doing it naturally. Okay. Here's the formula that I'm currently working with people on, which is heart plus hustle plus harmony. Okay. And to me, and I'll probably have a couple formulas for you guys tonight. Okay. But to me, this is how we create both. I like the word both. I like the word and. I don't like the word or. Successful business and a successful life. Anybody on a call ever feel like you have this constant pull back and forth of like, I want to do this thing. Like something in me really feels like called to this. I want to make a difference. I want to help people. I know that this is like a good thing. But then I've got kids. Some of you have jobs. Others of you are homeschooling kids. Some of you are working jobs and homeschooling kids. Like there's so many other things that are pulling you in so many directions that sometimes it feels like in order to be a successful coach, I hope it's okay. I am the author of F Leadership. I hope it's okay if I say that sometimes it feels like you have to be a shitty mom. And other times it feels like in order to be a good mom, you got to be like a shitty coach. Okay. And so I promise I'll leave cussing out because I didn't ask for permission. So that's the last time I'll cuss tonight, unless like the chat is like, go ahead. Otherwise I'll back off. But the point is, it's tough. We feel pulled in so many different directions. And as a result, we kind of find ourselves often in business like getting excited, getting motivated for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we get pulled back, and then we feel like we got to be a good mom, and then we lose traction. And here's what I have found is that like 95% of people struggle to succeed because they just never put together enough times in a row of showing up to actually push through the place of being stuck. Okay. And it happens at so many levels. Sometimes it happens like just as a coach, you just get stuck there. Sometimes you do what you got to do to make it to Emerald and you get stuck there. It's not my favorite statistic, but about 90% of people that go diamond never go beyond diamond. You can go up a level. 90% of people that go elite never go 10-star. 90% of people that go 10-star never go 15-star. Like, why does this happen? Why does this happen? Well, because as humans, we often are able to put together like a season of growth, but not a life of growth. And I'm sure you guys could say the same thing about health and fitness, right? The difference between the people who become healthy versus the people who yo-yo is the difference between the person who found a way to make it their lifestyle versus the person who is really good job, but 21 day doesn't fix you. It just starts you, right? Like that's what I've learned in life. 21 days is a good start, but it's not really a fix. And it's fine that the program's called 21 Day Fix. I'm not like arguing with the name of the program, but like the real fix is, can you how many times in a row can you do 21 days? Like, can you put 21 plus 21 plus 21 plus 21 plus 21? Then eventually it becomes a part of your lifestyle, correct? Business is the same, guys. One of the reasons I love helping Beachbody coaches is because you already understand the principles and the process. It's just that you haven't always taken what you learned on your health journey and applied it to your business. We kind of get stuck. Like, again, we were willing to learn the lessons here, but sometimes we like to think that if we learned them in one area, it should just happen naturally in other areas. And I'm just going to tell you, being someone who's built a business, being someone who has been on a health and fitness journey for like 8 years, I started P90X long before I knew what Beachbody was. I'm an old school P90Xer. I've done Body Beast, T25. I do love the Beachbody programs. Um, and then on top of that, like I've got 4 different kids. No matter how many different areas of life I get involved in, I constantly find out that every single one of them takes just as much work, no matter how good I became at the last one. I got 4 different kids, 4 different personality types, 4 different ways of communicating. Whoever said the more kids you have, the easier it gets was a liar. Just a liar. They were crazy. Don't listen to them. If you want to have 4 kids, it's wonderful. I love all 4 of my kids. Don't you dare believe it gets easier, because it does not. It's just more people to fight over where they want their chicken nuggets from. Like, that's what happens. Okay. So what I'm trying really hard to do is, I have been kind of like the name and the face of the word hustle for the last 7 years. I mean, I'm all about in your face, show up, no excuses. I always say that I have all of the empathy in the world for your pain, but I got 0 sympathy for your excuses. That's kind of like the way I do business. Okay. Like, I don't take excuses. If you're going through a hard time, I'm sorry, it does suck. Like, I do still love you. I care that you're struggling. I care that it's a hard time. But at the end of the day, like, either you're going to fix it or you're not. Like, that's just what it is. Like, either you're going to do something in response to that, or you're going to keep letting it control your life. Find a way or make an excuse, right? How many times you posted on Instagram about working out? You find a way or make an excuse, right? So here's what I've tried to do this year, is create like a more harmonized approach. I don't use the word balance. You'll see how many times I avoid the word balance tonight, because I hate that word. I'm trying to create a more full picture, because what I don't want people to do is think that hustle means working 12 hours a day, because I don't believe that. I don't want you to think that success means inviting 100 people a day, because I don't. Like, cool, if you got nothing in the world to do other than work your Beachbody business, sure, send 100 invites a day. But how many people on this call have nothing else to do? Anybody? Yeah, probably none of you, right? Like, for the girl who is doesn't have a job, isn't in school, doesn't have kids, doesn't have pets, cool, maybe you do have time to send 100 invites a day, but most of us don't. I've never personally ever sent 100 invites a day. And so I think that, like, what I'm trying to do is help people to see a clear picture of what it really looks like to be successful without losing your soul, without losing your family, without losing all of the other things that you love. I think you can be successful in all areas of life. And this is the formula that I believe does it. So let's start with heart, okay? Your heart is the wellspring of life. This is where everything is supposed to come from. However, we get on trainings and we learned that if you really want to be successful on Instagram, you got to follow 30 people a day. You got to like 100 pictures a day. You got to comment on 42 things a day. Oh, by the way, now you also have to do reels. Oh, by the way, you have to do follow-ups. Oh, what software are you using to make sure you're following up and not letting any people fall through the crack? And before you know it, the thing that you were so excited about and so passionate about feels like crap, because there's so many things to do. Now, on one hand, I just want to say that we do have to learn. We do have to grow. We do have to have these to-do lists that help us to become successful. But here's what we have to be very careful to do. We have to be so careful not to go down one of these ditches, okay? Here's one of the ditches. Ditch 1. I'll type it up here for you. Ditch 1. Losing the heart. Losing the heart in all of the head. Sometimes we get so trained on so many different logical things that we have to do that our entire business looks like checking off boxes. Now, let me just say, it's okay to work off of trackers. I make my clients work off of trackers. But you have to lead from the heart. And there's a few ways you do that. Give you a couple of routines. I believe in morning routines. I'll throw out there, I do not believe in the miracle morning, because I'm a night owl. I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you ask me to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll be grouchy. I'll be like you don't want to see me at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's ugly. Okay. I am not myself. So I am not here to preach what time you have to wake up, but I do believe that whatever time you choose to wake up, there is a routine that needs to happen before you start, like you wouldn't jump into a workout without doing a warm up. I personally wouldn't jump into a workout without Energize. Like I'm going to slay some Energize, then do a workout. Okay. Your morning routine is the Energize for your business. Okay. And what that means is I got to remind myself of a few things every morning. I'll give you some of those things. I need to remind myself of my why. Every single morning, I've got to take a look at why am I doing this? Because if the only reason you have to show up today is to go diamond or hit Success Club, I'm going to tell you that's not enough. Now, should you hit Success Club? Should you hit diamond? Absolutely. But the reality is, if you could remember every single morning that it was because you wanted to create a better future for your kids, because you want to take kids on vacation, like when that's a thing again, because you want to get out of debt, because you want to quit a job that you don't love, because you want to bring someone else home from a job that they don't love. If you can make that like the motivation behind what you do, you would be diamond so fast you wouldn't believe it. For me personally, I detailed cars for 9.5 years before joining the John Maxwell team. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, detailing cars sucks. Don't ever do that. Okay. If anyone ever offers you $1 million a year to detail cars, don't take it. Okay. Maybe $1 million a year. Anything less than $1 million a year, do not take it. Okay. 9.5 years. I had lower back problems. I had knee problems, still deal with some of that stuff. Worked on commission. So I had to like drink 7 cups of coffee a day just to keep up the kind of energy that it took to detail fast enough to make the kind of money I needed to make to take care of my 3 kids. I hated it. So when I found an opportunity to do something that I love for a living, I was so freaking motivated, not because all of the work was fun, because it wasn't. To this day, I don't like sending invites. Is there anyone on this call that likes sending invites? Like, go ahead and show me that person. Okay. I'm an Enneagram 3, which means I love to talk. As you can tell, I talk so fast because I just love it. Okay. I'm passionate. I love meeting new people. You can put me in a room full of 100 people and I will know every single one of them and they will be my best friend within 5 minutes. I hate invites. I don't like them. Okay. So don't pull that crap. Well, I'm an introvert. No, we all hate invites. Nobody in the world likes feeling like the person that might look like the ass. Okay. Nobody likes that. So there was a lot of work that I had to do that I did not like. But when you remember why you're doing it, it's not as big of a deal. Because for me, it was like, okay, Josh, you can hit Command C, Command V to like 5 people today. And it feels kind of gross and you really don't like it. But what feels grosser? Having random people on Instagram that you'll never see in your entire life think that you're weird or gross or salesy, or continuing to hope and pray that your mom buys your kids school clothes because you can't afford to buy your own kids school clothes. I don't know how many people on here have my story, but that was my story. Couldn't even buy my kids school clothes. And that was the worst feeling thing in the world. So if I have to choose, do you want to feel gross for 15 minutes while you hit Command C, Command V, Command C, Command V, or tell your kids tomorrow, can't take you school shopping, but I think maybe grandma's going to take you next weekend. Maybe, I don't really know. To me, it becomes an easy choice. Doesn't make it easy to do, but it is an easy choice. Does that make sense? So I need to remember my why every single day. And I need to remember what I call my life mission. My personal life mission, I'll just tell you, like I had been detailing cars and playing in rock bands on the weekend. And music was what I hoped was going to be like my way out. Like at some point, like I'm going to play music for a living and I'm going to love it. But my youngest son, Paxton, had 3 open heart surgeries by the age of 3. And I realized that music was taking me further and further away from my family. And that even if I did ever make it, my family might have to make a whole lot of sacrifices for me just to make it. And even then, maybe I make it, but now what? Now daddy travels full time and never sees his kids. So I just got to a point where I was like, this doesn't make sense. And so for me personally, I felt lost. I felt like I had a complete meltdown, identity crisis at the age of 29 when I realized music wasn't my thing. Like, if I'm not a musician, I'm just a dude who details cars. At least when I'm a musician, I can be like, oh yeah, I detail cars, but I play in bands on the weekend. And like, that made me feel like I had something cool to say. Like, yeah, I don't have my life figured out, but it's okay. I'm an artist. I mean, like, what artist does have their life figured out, right? Like, that was okay. But just being like, I'm just a 29-year-old who's poor. That didn't feel very good. I had a huge, just like, what the heck am I going to do with my life moment? Didn't know what to do. The only thing I knew was like, there's these like podcasts that are free. Maybe I can learn something. I mean, I listen to music for 8 hours a day. Maybe I could just try like listening and just see. I don't want to go back to school. So maybe some free learning would be cool. And I tell you what, I listened to one podcast and something in me lit up. So I just never pressed stop. I just let it play all day. Showed up for work the next day, hit play, let podcast. And I just got to the point where I was just downloading anything and everything I could get my hands on. I didn't know there was a name for, I didn't know it was called personal development. I didn't know there was a whole industry around it. I didn't know it was something you could do for a living. I just loved it. Something in me felt alive. I obviously understand why now, but then I didn't. So, I mean, I just pulled out my computer that I used to record music on, started like making my own podcast, just talking about things I was excited about. Didn't have anyone else to talk to. So I figured I'd talk to a microphone and see if anyone out there in the world connected to it. A couple months later, I hear John Maxwell on a podcast. I don't know, maybe like a month later, I see some type of an ad for joining the John Maxwell Team Certification Program. And here's the thing, I just realized if this had changed my life this much, I wanted to spend the rest of my life helping other people to find that change that they needed. To me, like, that was everything. And I was okay with the fact that maybe I would be poor for the rest of my life, but I wasn't okay with the fact that maybe I wouldn't make a difference for the rest of my life. And so when you combine what you want to do with your family with how you want to impact the world, I believe it combines for this magical superpower that nothing can stand in your way. For my whole first year, you guys want to hear a real rough story? My whole first year, John Maxwell as my mentor, okay, the #1 leadership trainer on the planet. He's wrote over 90 books. He's got several New York Times bestsellers. He spoke for Beachbody Summit, I think in like 2015, 14, something like that. Dude is Yoda, okay? He is freaking Yoda. You would think with him as my mentor, I should have taken off. I should have gone the equivalent of what you guys would call superstar diamond in like the first 6 months, right? You know what my first year looked like? I made 2 sales total, made $500 in my whole first year. Guys, some of you are like stressed when you don't hit Success Club for the month. I didn't hit Success Club for the year. For the whole year. Nobody was recognizing me. I was like kind of like low key waiting to get like a email or something. It was like, from John Maxwell, you are no longer welcome. Like, I was just like waiting for like, this isn't work. But here's the thing. I said, I feel so passionate about helping people make this change in their life. If I have to talk to 1 million people to find the ones that connect and get where I'm coming from and will buy into this, that's what I'll do. If I got to talk to 1 million people, that's what I'll do. I was just so passionate about getting this message to other people. I think that if we would get back to being a little bit more focused on the change we want to make in the world, maybe we would stop beating ourselves up every time somebody says no. Maybe we'd be stop worrying so much about whether or not this person ghosts me. I don't let people in my groups even use the word ghost because I just think it's such a it's just such a victim. Oh my God, I got ghosted by 20 people. Who cares? What does that matter? You interrupted their day. They didn't interrupt your day. Stop pretending that like Amazon, so stop pretending you paid for something and that the delivery guy showed up at your door and then said, oops, never mind, and took it and ran off with it. Okay. You didn't pay for anything and they didn't ask for you to. We are interrupting other people's lives. Okay. So for me personally, if someone is just like, I don't want to talk to you, I'm just like, that's okay. Like, I interrupted you. Like, I don't think that that's rude for you to just decide you don't want to allow me into your house when I'm a stranger who just came knocking on the door. Like, to me, there's nothing personal about it. Because I try to remember that I have weird people message me sometimes. I don't take the time to respond. I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? No, I don't want to participate in your celebrity giveaway that's supposedly going to get me 20,000 new followers this month from some rap artist who a bunch of 15-year-olds listen to. No, I'm not interested. I don't take the time to be like, thank you so much for messaging me. I think it's so wonderful that you're doing all of these wonderful things. I will have to decline your offer, but I just wanted to let you know I didn't want you to feel like I was ghosting you. Nobody does that. You don't do that. Nobody does that. Why we take things so personal? Either you want to make a difference in the world or you don't. But the one thing I will say from studying other people who have changed the world is that they got ignored by a whole lot of people and slandered by even more. I have had more chat threads started about me than most of you will ever see in your entire life. Because that's what happens when you stand up for something that you love and you believe in. People either love you or they hate you. There's not really any in between. They either love you or they hate you. But you know what? If I have something that can change people's lives, isn't it worth having some, by the way, strangers hate me? I mean, they're strangers. What does it even matter? Like it literally doesn't even exist in my world. It's like a pretend place on Instagram. There's some people floating around that hate my guts. But what does that even matter? It's not like they're going to be sitting next to me at church Sunday. It's not like I'm going to be like pumping my gas and one of them's going to like pull up next to me and be like, hey, there's that idiot that's always posting selfies on Instagram. I mean, like they're basically pretend people. But what's not pretend is how many times I got on calls with people. And by the end of the call, and I'm going to tell you, it felt so gross. I hated messaging them. Hey, my name is Josh. I'm on the John Maxwell team. Wanted to offer you a free session. I don't do that anymore, but to build my business, I was giving away lots of free sessions. Now I speak on team calls. This is a way better use of my time than doing 100 one-on-ones per month. But I would do these free one-on-ones. And again, it felt gross. I hated it. But occasionally someone would say yes. And then they would get on the call. And at the end of the call, they would be tearing. Josh, you have no idea how long I've been praying for someone to come along and help me with this. And I would hold on to those moments with everything because that was the moment I needed to get me through 20 or 30 more ghosts or people ignoring me or people saying they were going to show up for a call but not showing up for a call, sending. How many of you got like 30,000 share carts just hanging out in the ozone? Like, who knows where they are? We sent them. We don't know whatever happened to them, right? Just needed that one person to tell me like this changed my life forever. If I can just like hold on to that, and I hold on to to this day, hold on to the one person that says, Josh, because of you, I quit my job. I make more money than I ever made at my day job. Brought my husband home I hold on to every single one of those wins to get me to the next one. But too many times we're holding on to the losses. Too many times we're holding on to all of the negative things that happened along the way. And some of it's because if we're just Being real honest for a second, as Megan found out in the first chapter of my book, I'm real honest. If we're being real honest, because we were looking for a reason to quit. We were looking for a reason to back out. We were looking for a sign to tell us it's not the right fit, or maybe we're not good enough. Maybe we don't have what it takes. I have this quote that I use. Megan, you'll get to it in one of the later chapters probably. It says, our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a story, typing it up so that you can just copy and paste if you want, to justify our fears and excuses. Our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a story to justify our fears and excuses. How many of you have ever thought that only the extroverted coaches are successful? Anybody ever thought that? If you're an introvert, let me tell you what you're going to do. One, you're going to be like, well, you got to speak on calls, you got to take pictures of yourself. So I'm an introvert. I can't do that. So apparently this is for extroverts. So here's what you do. You go follow the 3 extroverts that exist and you obsess over them and remind yourself every single day why you can't do this because you're not like them. Meanwhile, I can list off superstar diamonds and top 10 coaches that I have worked with, and every single one of them is an introvert. I think Jatanya Jackson is the only extroverted Beachbody coach I even know. Like, she's the only one. But Melissa McAllister, introvert. Micah Folsom, introvert. Raina Odell, introvert. Literally everyone I've ever worked with is an introvert. They tricked you. Do you know how they tricked you? Because they were just willing to not use the fact that they were introverted as an excuse. They hated team calls too. They were scared to death. I did Brittany Powers' first team call for her because as a 2-star, she was scared to death to even lead one. So I said, I'll lead the first one for you. That'll help you. Hadn't even led a team call. She was number 35 in the company and had not led one single team call for her team because she was scared shitless. But at some point, they all say, I'm scared to death, but I'm going to do it. I'm scared to death, but I'm going to do it. And if you say that over and over and over and over, eventually, you know what happens? You walk out on stage and you look like a badass and you speak with confidence and everyone goes, oh my God, she's just so extroverted. No, she's not. She went and hid in her hotel room for 3 days after that presentation. Like, I'm not even kidding you right now. Like, that's legit. Some of you think that the top coaches are like really stuck up because you see them at Summit and they're like hiding off doing their own thing. They're just so introverted that the crowd literally scared them to death and they're hiding in a corner. Like, I'm the only person at Summit that just like wants to hang out with people. I'm like, hey, let's hang out. Let's goof off. All of my friends that are top coaches literally hiding in hotel rooms somewhere. If you think, well, you have to be someone who's lost at least 50 pounds. And I've only lost like 5. You know what you'll do? You'll go follow every single coach out there that's lost more than 50 pounds. You'll find the ones that lost 200 pounds. You'll be like, see, I knew I couldn't do it. Or if you've lost more than 50 pounds, you'll be like, well, I've just lost so much weight. It's not even relatable to most people. We just take anything that exists and make up BS stories around it because we're looking for an excuse for it not to work for us. It's one of the reasons that as a salesperson and marketing person, I'm really, really good about making my emails and sales copy sound like it was customized for you, like you're the only one in the world that's struggling, because I know that's how people think. I have to write my sales copy specifically. I will say, if you're the girl who feels like and feels like this and feels like this, the reality is I know everybody feels like that, but I had to make it sound like you're the only one who feels like that because you think that no one else struggles the way that you do. And the reality is we all struggle with all of the same things, but some people connect to their heart. on a daily basis, and they use that as the foundation that they grow their business on. Yes, they mark off all the activities, but they do it with a different purpose. I'm going to tell you right now, you can tell the difference. You can feel it in the inbox. You can feel it with posts and stories. You can feel when someone is showing up with their heart versus when they're showing up with their head. Does that make sense? So the first thing is I have to use this heart. I have to revisit it every morning, every single morning. First thing, because that's what I build everything else on. Okay. Second thing is the hustle. Here's the thing with the hustle. I want you to write this down. Do the right things, not all the things. I see this mistake made a lot. Sometimes we get too much training. And what we start to do is we hear one top coach teach on one thing, another top coach teach on another thing, another top coach think on another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing. And what kind of tends to happen is subconsciously, we kind of think that all of them do all of those things. And we build up a to-do list in our head that's like 700 miles long. And then we use words like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I need to take a step back. If like literally, if I had $1 for every person that said they need to take a step back, I would never have to work again in my entire life, because we let it churn into something overwhelming. Okay. But here's what you have to do as an entrepreneur. Okay. Remember, you own your own business. Nobody else is responsible for what you do or don't get in life. Nobody else. Only you. And so at some point, you have to take ownership, and you have to ask yourself, what do I need to do every day? I'm going to tell you one that's like, maybe you don't. If you're really special, if you're more special than the rest of us, maybe you don't. But I have learned that 999 people out of 1,000 cannot make sales without inviting. Can't. Now, we might have that one girl on this call that says, Josh, I'm so good on Instagram. I post a before and after picture and say, who wants to join me? Drop a comment below, and 35 people comment below, and I make 20 sales. I'm good to go. I don't have to do invites. Is that person on this call? I'm just curious. Because if so, you can like mute me for like a couple of minutes. I won't be talking. Is that person? No, no, not okay. Cool. So I guess it's for all of you. Unless you're the girl who can literally share your story, stop repeating that crap. Oh, we don't really sell. We just share our story. And then like people just share our story. Really? You just share your story? Because last time I checked, most of you share your story. And when you do, it gets like 15 likes and one comment from your mom, and it doesn't make any sales. So like, if all you do is share your story, I got like a news flash for you. You don't get paid. Okay. So if you want to keep doing that, like that's cool. You can keep sharing your story for another 5 years. Okay. Just know that you might not ever make any money, because like there's lots of people on social media sharing stories, but like Instagram doesn't send checks. I don't know if you know, Instagram don't send any checks. So this is really frustrating. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but even with 28,000 followers, you know what I have to do? I have to go talk to people, and that's the only way I make sales. And if I don't talk to people, I don't make sales. Okay. So here's the thing. Number one on your list. Okay. There's this really cool list that I heard of when I first started working with Beachbody coaches. I'm going to give you the list. These are the things that like pretty much have to be done by everybody. And over and above this, you can do whatever the hell you want for all I care. But you do kind of have to do, you have to like be a product of the product. You got to like use the products you sell. Like that's rule number one. Okay. Number two, you really need to do personal development, because honestly, if you don't, you're going to be negative. You're going to end up quitting. Like that. It's just like personal development is like your insurance policy. Okay. Now this third one, this one's real important, In fact, it's so important. They said it 3 times. Invite, invite, invite. They said it 3 times. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the vital behaviors. It's a Beachbody thing. You maybe heard of it. It's called the vital behavior. The 4th one is recognition. Okay. Which that one did not exist back in 2015 when I first started helping coaches. It was just the 3. Okay. Now here's the thing. You got to do those 4 things. When you're done with those 4 things, if you want to play on Canva for an hour, cool, go for it. If you want to, throw your shoes in the air and when they land, your outfit changes, like, cool, like, go for it. Awesome. You can like dance to like music videos and like, like do the fun voiceover. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want. But what I have found is most people do all of that stuff and they're like, oh no, I just didn't have time to do it. I just didn't have time. There's just no time to invite. Well, that's cool. Then there's probably no time to get paid. Here's what I want you to practice doing. Every time you say, I don't have time to get invites in, I want you to instead say, I don't have time to get paid. I want you to see how that feels. If it feels awesome, that's cool. You can like keep being the girl that shares her story and changes clothes at the snap of your fingers and boom, boom, boom. But like, you're just not going to get paid. And if that's cool, if you're cool with that, like, that's okay. Like, I think it's fine to be an Instagram entertainer as long as you don't get paid. But if you want to get paid, got to do the vitals. I'm just going to keep dragging that out over and over and over and over and over. Okay. So this is what I teach in my groups. Okay. The hustle is all about do the right things and then get out. Like, get out. When you don't do the right things, you end up working more hours, giving up more energy, wasting more time. And like I said, you don't get paid. And in my opinion, that's why people end up getting overwhelmed and needing to take a step back. The reality is the business is actually super simple. Now, it's not easy. I will admit it's not easy because of the mental and emotional aspect of putting yourself out there. That's hard. But the actual activities are really, really, really simple if you don't make it hard. Okay. But we usually make it hard by thinking, well, I don't have enough followers, so I should probably, spend an hour on that. Now, if you want to spend an hour to get more followers after you do your invites, that's cool because I think that can be a good investment in your future to get more followers. But I've also just going to tell you, like right now, like getting more followers does not promise you will make more money. It doesn't. The only thing that promises you will make more money is that you talk to more people. And by more people, I don't mean 100 a day. I just mean like each day you need to talk to people. Does that make sense? But if you can make it so simple, okay? Like I always tell people, if you'll give me 2 to 4 hours a day, that's all I need. Now, when your business grows and you become a full-time coach, then, I'd like to see it bumped up to 6 hours a day. But to be honest, I don't even encourage my full-time coaches to work 8 hours a day because we're in the people business and it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of emotions. And I don't know that any of us can really do that 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. What I would rather do, what I try to do is about 6 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Friday is kind of like a half day. And then Saturday, I like plug in for like an hour to check in on things, do a couple things that need to be done. Saturday and Sunday are like 1 hour days. I don't usually just completely take them off because there's usually something that I need to check in, but I also don't consider them like productive days. It's more of like, okay, before the kids wake up, I'm going to check into my sales, email, just see if there's something I need to do real quick. And then I'm going to check out and goof off. Does that make sense? So it's actually really, really simple if you keep it simple. Now let's talk about harmony as the last thing. I'm going to shut up and let everybody, some people on the call are like, I only am still here because I know that Megan can see if I leave, but this guy is an ass and I want to go now. So we'll end it on a happy note, and that is harmony. Harmony is the thing that keeps you from losing your mind. Okay, because the business does demand, it demands a lot of masculine energy. You may ever feel like all the invites, the add followers, it can feel very masculine. And I don't think that that masculine energy is the best thing for your family. And I've been guilty of this before. If you're not careful, you don't do the right things. So you just all the time feel flustered because you don't know. I know I need to do something else. I don't remember what it is, but I know there's other things. And you take that energy into your family time and you find yourself yelling and screaming at people for no reason. Your family thinks you're crazy. You think they're crazy. I'm just going to tell you right now, you're crazy. It's you. Okay. It's not them. It's you. Sometimes it's your spouse. Okay. Sometimes it is your spouse, but in this situation, okay, when your head is in 100 different places, you're the crazy one. Okay. However, if we can create some intentional, and Brendon Burchard talks about this in his High Performance Habits book, if we can create some intentional transitions, we release the masculine energy and we enter into the feminine energy, which I promise you is 1,000 times better for your family. It's 1,000 times better for your relationships. Nobody in your life wants the hustle girl. Nobody wants that. Okay. Now, they love our confidence, but there's a difference between the confidence and the hustle. And so here's what I'm going to challenge everybody to do is number one, have a time that you clock out. Now, this looks different for everybody. I know everyone's on different schedules. Some of you are working in mom cracks. That's like the Micah Folsom thing. Some of you are waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work before. Some of you are doing it after. It doesn't really matter when this is. And for some of you, if your life, got a lot of things going on, you might need to schedule several clock out times. You know what I mean? You might need to have like a morning hour, but then I clock out. Lunch hour, but then I clock out. Evening hour, but then but there has to be intentional times where you say, at this time, I'm leaving work at work. I also suggest, when possible, I know that this isn't always possible. When possible, have different spaces for work. Okay. Now, if you don't have a dedicated office like I do, pick a chair. Pick a different chair. Maybe you say, Josh, like I work in the living room. Pick one chair for work time. Pick one chair for like, I'm checked out, I'm chilling and watching movies time. Does that make sense? Sometimes by just changing, and even within my office, I have my office chair. This is where we get down to business. I have my little love seat behind me with like the fluffy pillow. That's where I do my journaling. That's where I do like my heart stuff in the morning. Okay. And then when I come over here, it's like, let's get down to business. So like position can change so much. Okay. So we clock out. When possible, we change positions. And here's the other thing. I'm going to give you two more things. Okay. Breathing exercises. Take literally 60 seconds. Okay. I swear this will change your life. Take 60 seconds at the end of your day. Breathe in through your nose. Out through your mouth. There is some science behind it. I don't know all of the science because not the smartest science guy in the world, but basically you're just pushing oxygen through. But there's literally something in your energy that changes. You'll feel yourself relax. You'll feel yourself calm down. When I'm breathing out, I like to say the word release. I like to say, I'm releasing the energy of my work. I'm releasing the pressure of my work. I'm releasing all of the things I said I was going to do, because at this point, it doesn't matter. It's done. Whether I said I was going to do it or not, it's over now. I'm releasing all the things I thought I was going to do. And it's just 60 seconds of kind of like intentionally letting go of that part of my life. And then when I walk out that door, guess who I get to be? I just get to be dad. I'm his dad. I'm a dork. Watch superhero movies. Be like, I'm just Josh, not business Josh. Does that make sense? And that's who my kids really need. I do need to set a good example by being someone who shows up for their purpose and builds something that I believe they can be proud of, but they don't need that part of me all day. You know what I'm saying? I got to clock out and be intentional with them. The third thing I'm going to tell you is one family activity every day. One family activity every day. I have found that as a parent, it's kind of like working a business. If I don't have a plan for it, I end up getting flustered and overwhelmed and getting insecure and thinking I'm the worst in the world. And the reality is, if I just have like an intentional schedule. So for me, when I get done working, kids get home from the nannies, we hop in my car and we ride down to the pond and we just like take our bikes and we ride circles around the pond. And that's like our like intentional time together. I love that it's active time and intentional time. Like anytime you can mix two things, it like makes it that much more special because I'm teaching my kids how to be active, but I'm also teaching my kids how to value family time. Does that make sense? So I do something usually that's fun for them and me, like somewhere where we can kind of like meet in the middle. And as a result, if you just compound that times several years, I can't wait for one day my kids, hopefully they don't appreciate it as much now. I mean, they do, but they don't, everyone gets that, right? To one day get off work every single day. And when they get off work, go for a run or go for a hike or go for a bike ride because it's just a normal part of their routine. And when they have kids, to then, hey kids, let's go for a walk. And then their significant other would be like, man, it's so cool that we do this. How come, like, where did this come from? They'll be like, I don't really know. It's something my dad used to do with me every single day. And they didn't even realize I was literally programming them to be more active and spend time with their family. Now, that to me is being successful in business and life versus or. I think if we're not careful, we try to be super mom and we think we need to have 8 hours of intentional time with our kids. If you can, good for you. Okay. Could you like lay hands on me, give me some of that like anointing or whatever? Because like 8 hours of intentional time with kids would drive me nuts. But if I just have something that I do every single day, then it creates that bond. It has me leading by example. And then for the rest of the night, I kind of let them do their own thing. If they want to watch a movie with me, cool, we do. If they want to watch a show with me, cool, they do. But, my older ones are to the point now where they kind of like got their own stuff that they want to go do. Does that make sense? So like, again, just like my business, do I sometimes wish that I did more? Of course. But if I do the most important things, some of the other stuff is, got it done some days, other days didn't get done, but I got the most important things done on a regular basis. That's what leads to success in life. Does that make sense? So I hope that helped you. I hope that I gave you enough of what you needed, but also created some harmonized perspective with the ending. Maybe you don't hate my guts after the third step. Maybe you're like, I thought he was a jerk, but okay, he said some nice things at the end. But I do want to you can get this at joshcoates.com. If you live inside the US, we'll ship you a free copy if you just pay for shipping. I saw someone say I'd really like the audiobook. If you go to joshcoates.com, you'll see like a link you can click on, get my free book here. There's an option there to just get the audiobook. Okay. If you just get the audiobook, it costs you nothing because obviously there's no shipping. Whether you get the physical copy, if you get the physical copy, it also comes with the audiobook, by the way. It comes with like I added like $100 worth of free downloads that you get with the book, whether you get the physical copy or the audiobook. Okay. Brandy got both last year. Way cool. Awesome, Brandy. That makes me so happy. So Megan, that's all I have. I'll hand it back to you. Let you put closing notes on.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. Seriously. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I want to see everybody. There, I had you on speaker. So, I think we needed to hear this very, very badly. I know I myself am someone, and I just want to like echo one thing you said, and that was the having a stop time on your work. And then not bringing that energy, not bringing that into your family life and that type of thing. I think that we all needed to hear that more than anything, that release of, you did it.
Right.
You did the most important things.
Right.
and move on and
Yeah.
you know, move on. And that is like a breath of
Yeah.
fresh air. And I think will keep us, you know, keep us
Yep.
fresh for the mission that we're on, you know.
Right.
So I loved it very much. So,
Awesome.
so thank you very much for your time tonight.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Appreciate it. So you guys have a good rest of your guys' night and let's show up tomorrow. You know, do take some notes. Think about what area you really need to hone in on right now. He shared a lot and we can't go jump into
Yeah.
everything, but figure out what for you spoke the most. Jot that down right when you get off this call and implement it tomorrow. Don't wait, implement it tomorrow and then move on to something else that you want to do. So, I will talk to you ladies later and have a good evening. See ya.
Night, guys.